and a very good morning to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you for waking up so early to listen to today's talk. Inshallah, your morning will be filled with a lot of good information from today's amazing speaker. So, let me introduce you guys to Professor Dr. Jayakaran Mukundan from UPM. Professor Jaya started his work as a school teacher and served for more than a decade. He then joined UPM, University Putra Malaysia, and has more than 20 years of experience as a language instructor, lecturer, associate professor, and also professor. He recently won the Vice Chancellor Award for Teaching. And without further ado, I would like to invite Prof. Jaya to share his knowledge with all of us regarding the teaching material. So,
Hello. Yeah. How do I get back to the main screen? I want to share my transparencies, my PowerPoint slides. How do I get? Because right now I only see your face.
Okay, Prof. Are you?
Yeah.
So sorry, Sir Hisham.
Okay. Can you guide Prof. Alpha?
Yes, thank you, sir. Professor, what do you see right now?
I just see at the bottom all the faces, a few faces, and then somebody just appeared. Dr. Sapa.
Dr. Shafa. I'm actually using Dr. Shafa's account. My name is Alpha. Do you see any share?
I see I see your Shafa's face here
Yeah, okay.
in the main screen.
That's correct. Could you enlarge the screen to make it full screen?
I'm already full screen.
Okay, so that means you are in view. Do you see any button saying layout?
Layout, yes.
Okay.
Click.
Tap on that and then choose grid.
Where?
Grid. G-R.
Grid. Okay.
And then do you see at the bottom, there's a share button. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, you press on share.
Okay, share.
And then you choose your screen. Choose which screen, PowerPoint. Yep, we can see it. Amazing.
Okay.
All right.
See it.
We could see it, yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Can
we
you see my
Yes.
PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everybody, on this Sunday morning. You know, Sunday for the rest of us out here is a holiday, you know. But it's okay. Because of COVID, we are on virtual holidays all the time. Never mind. What I want to do is, well, I'm going to talk about materials, but I want to ask questions before we proceed. Anybody can randomly answer. How would you be going for your teaching practice? Would it be online? Would you be teaching students online, or would you be going into classrooms?
For now, I think they want us to do it online.
Online? When do you start?
We start at 14 March.
That's a long way off. Maybe by that time, some students can go back to school. Maybe, yeah? Yeah. So if you do it online, it's a very tricky business. Because you will have to spend a lot of time preparing your students for this. You don't know if you want to do activities using Zoom or other social media platforms, messaging platforms and meeting platforms. There would be a lot of problem trying to get as much participation from your students as possible. As you can see, the last time I conducted the writing workshop, I had to conduct it in such a way that I made sure the participants wrote and then gave me feedback, which was not too bad. I thought it worked well in that situation. But I don't know how methodology is going to work online. You know, you probably will have to actually be extremely um, uh, innovative, which means there's a lot of preparation before the class starts. I believe that's what's going to happen. Let's talk about this in a short while. But tell me, if it's opened and you went back to class, or if it's not open and you had to do online, will you be doing this online at home? Or you have to go to school to do it online? You'll have to probably go to school to do it online, right? Because that's
Yes.
where the facilities will be.
Actually,
Now,
for now, we stay at home.
come
Don't know.
again?
Actually, for now, we stay at home. That's the plan, I guess.
Right. Okay, so it's very tricky because and how many students can you have online? Those that you have to seriously consider. But for the moment, let's look at the normal circumstances plus online teaching as well. What I want to ask you is this. As somebody who has not been to schools to teach, what are your biggest fears? What are your biggest fears? What do you fear most? Can somebody start the conversation?
My anxiety again.
Anxiety, that's normal.
Yes.
Anxiety can be positive as well. It shows that if you're anxious, that means you want to prepare yourself better, which is actually a very good sign. Very good. Okay, your anxiety, that's normal. Anybody else?
The lesson did not get through the student.
Okay. That's also is part of anxiety. You fear that your students might not be able to catch what you're teaching. Who else? Anybody else?
Prof, I think I would be afraid of not able to control my class, not able to control my students.
Okay. Being a younger person, the advantage that you have older teachers is you will be able to connect better with them. And the way to their hearts is to show a little bit of firmness. When they are extremely noisy, maybe you just show that you are in control by saying, excuse me, that's not nice. I'm nice to you, so I expect you to listen to me. Those are strategies that make your students respect you because they don't consider you old enough to be like their father, but you could be young enough to be their brother, and so it could be a very positive situation for you. You connect better to these younger people as opposed to their older teachers. That's interesting. Anxiety, we will come to in a short while. Any other problems? Remember that when you shout and you scold, that's when you're losing control. It's even worse when they're making noise and you shout. First of all, there's anger built up in your students, and that makes them shut off. Whatever you teach after that will not make sense because they're angry and they're sulking on the seats. So you have to make sure that you learn how to use your advantage. And your advantage at the moment is you are younger than most teachers. You are so much younger than most of the teachers, so you have to win their hearts by being nice to them. But when they beyond control, you also learn how to check them. And you will have to take note of the naughtiest kids and the ones who actually start the rusuhan. those are the ones that you win them over. Maybe you get them to carry your books to the staff room after class. That's what I used to do with students who were very naughty, because naughty kids have got lots of energy. It's how you channel their energies into positive energies that's going to make you win against them. So if you think this child is very naughty, don't push him to the corner of the class, because that's going to make it worse. Or don't switch off his microphone all the time because it's disturbing you while you are teaching online. Instead, help him by saying, look, I like your ideas, but this is what I want you to tell me about. Yeah. So you get them to support you in whatever you do. But of course, hopefully, this MCO would be over and you'll be back in school. That's when proper teaching takes over. Proper teaching takes over only in schools, in classrooms. Don't ever actually get the idea that you can do anything online. It's just a stopgap measure. It's just to help to overcome the extreme crisis that we are facing right now. But this is not the ideal. You can't really teach online at school. You can teach to university students because it's lecture style. That's the difference. Okay, so good. I've listened to several people and they seem to actually echo a very interesting thing about fears. These are similar things that other people have talked about. So now, there are several myths about ELT materials, and one of which is if you are inexperienced, you will fail because you can't use the textbook. You don't know how to use the textbook properly. The textbook is an amazing piece of resource, which is highly criticized. All over the world, a lot of people hate textbooks. I'm telling you that you are not in a position to hate the textbook because you're a novice teacher. You're an inexperienced teacher. A textbook is supposed to be some kind of support towards you, especially if you're teaching online. Remember, the textbook is your main reference. You can't run away from it. So you also have very good control over the classroom because when you tell them things like this, okay, open your textbook to page 7, and immediately you get attention from your students. That's one very important use of the textbook. They will have to refer to the textbook. When they're referring to the textbook, then you know that you are in control of the learning teaching situation. So not everything about the textbook is bad. Okay? So if you are inexperienced and people say you are going to fail because you're inexperienced, it's wrong. You only fail if you don't work hard. And the one bit of support that you get is this. You have to remember how your good teachers taught you. Not the bad teachers, of course. Bad teachers are bad examples to anybody, anywhere in the world. Good teachers are examples, exemplary. So if you have a good teacher who comes into class and tells you, hi, guys, how are you? I can't see Fata on the screen on my computer. This is online teaching lah. Where is Fata? Oh, Fata, he's got poor connectivity in his kampong, sir. Somebody answers. Then is there a possibility that one of you can actually allow Fata to come and stay with you over a few weeks? Something like that happens so that he can follow your teaching. So that sort of thing is important. Okay, so you're coming into the class and you're talking to them, you're chatting to them. Chatting is the word. You don't start a class by actually telling them, open your textbook to page 242. No, it's a disaster. You come into class, you look at the screen and you look at who is there. Hey, Halim, you don't look so good. Are you okay? Are you fine? I'm fine, sir. Oh, that's great. Okay, that's very good. I'm happy that you are fine. And then you spend about 5 minutes talking about how they did. weekend, or you know, you look at their faces. Are you all right? You ask them and things like that. Now, you remember that you were taught by teachers before. So some of these teachers will be your models. And so if you don't know how to use the textbook properly, maybe you know one teacher who has used the textbook very very well. Try to remember that. Try remembering your good teachers. Maybe you want to use them as models. Try remembering how they use teaching materials. Okay. So now, if you go into a standard 3 classroom or a standard 4 classroom, what will be the first unit of teaching in the, anybody tell me? What will be the first unit? Never mind if it's from standard 3 or standard 4 or standard 5 or standard 6, whichever. What will be the first unit usually be like? Really? Yes. Somebody? Anybody?
I think it would be like
Have you seen the
introduction.
textbook?
No,
Introduction. This would be like in or standard 3.
Prof.
Hmm?
We are not sure because we haven't seen the textbook. And are we using the CEFR or KSSR format?
You see, that one you will have to ask the school system. I'm no longer with the school system, and you will have to ask the school. You'll have to ask the teacher concerned. Well, CEFR is very recent, you know, and I don't understand why the school system is trying to adopt everything towards CEFR, because CEFR is standards which you at primary school and about. CEFR should be more towards secondary school so that when they finish Form 5, they know what their the levels they have to attain. CEFR is also supposed to be actually a corresponding measure, right? Yeah. CEFR is supposed to be a kind of standard where you're supposed to achieve uh, highest before you leave school, hopefully. And then, you know, you continue. If you're not really there, you continue up to your university days. And of course, there are placement tests in the middle, because if you finish Form 5, then you're sitting for your MUAT, and that's another indication of how much you have attained. So for primary school, don't let CEFR be a concern for you, because if whoever wrote the textbook also wrote the textbook to conform to what the lower levels of standards are required. But looking at primary school, you shouldn't be comparing your students towards whatever CEFR or whatever, because they probably will have to attain the lowest level of the CEFR, maybe to qualify to go to the next level. You should be concerned about shouldn't be concerned about standards or assessment. You should be concerned about fluency at these lower levels. You should be asking them to be competent in speaking, in listening, and things like that. But most textbooks all over the world, especially at primary and early secondary levels, always have one unit on family, right? Yeah, introducing the family. Hi, I'm Ali, and this is my father, Ahmad, and this is my mother, Amina, and these are my other siblings, Shukur, Shakir, and Shazwan. And that's the kind of thing that you get in a textbook. But textbooks are horrible for teaching family. Why? You have your own resources. Students have their own resources, right? Yeah, students have their own resources, and you should be innovative enough to look at other resources. So let's have a look at this. I need to use as many resources as possible. No, because in Latihan Mengajar, you know, if you think you can go back to school, that's the most dangerous part. Teaching practice trainees spend so much money buying visual aids lah, all kinds of teaching aids. Why? They think the more, the better. It is a very, very wrong thing to figure that the more you have, the better it is. No, teaching is not about that. So don't bring in your bicycle into and your motorcycle into the classroom just to show, you know, this is the wheel, this is the handlebar, this is the seat. What for? A picture will do. But you believe that because you've been taught about Realia, you know what Realia is, right? Realia. What is Realia?
Something
Hello?
that represent the real thing.
Not represent the real thing, it's the real thing. Realia is
Okay.
the real thing. Realia is the real thing. So let us say you bring a fork into the classroom because you're going to teach them at the breakfast table, so or a lunch table, or eating in a hotel. Spoon and a plate into the classroom. Those are that's Realia. If you bring a bicycle, a motorcycle, a Ferrari into the classroom, that's a Realia because you want to impress. You know, and that's the wrong way to impress because you don't make Realia the overriding concern for you as a teacher. You know, do what's practical. You can't bring a crane into the classroom. That's impossible. You know, even a bicycle is big. And what for when you can have a picture of a bicycle? You can have a video of the bicycle projected on a screen. That's good enough. You don't have to use Realia. And if you think that the textbook is useless, no, it is not useless. The textbook is your security. If you don't have time to develop DIY means do it yourself. Find ways to use your textbook in interesting ways. Okay? Now, how are you going to do this? Let us say that you don't have time to create your own materials. Remember that for some lessons, the students have their own resources. Okay? You don't have to come up with extra materials. So maybe the textbook is boring. It shows a picture of one family with Ahmad, with his parents and his other siblings. And it's such a boring thing. But tomorrow's class is on family. And you tell your students, okay, I want you to find 5 photographs that concern your family. And I want you to tell me a story about your family. So it's not just about introducing your family, because if you're just introducing your family, then you will get all the students in the class saying, this is my father, this is my mother, this is my brother, this is my sister, this is my grandfather, this is my grandmother. We don't want that. That's interesting. Yes, because if you're beginning students, you want to get them to use the structure. This is, that is, this is. That's interesting too. If you're a beginning learner, because you get confidence in using structures like that. But if you're in standard 3, 4, and 5 in a good class, maybe you want to tell them, I want you to tell me about a story about your family. But you must only take 5 photographs to tell a story about your family. So they probably have to look at an incident or a trip or something which they went together, and then they have to make a story out of it. They all go for holidays these days, no matter how poor they are. They go to the next village across where their auntie is staying, and that's a holiday. Who says a holiday has to be in Timbuktu or Johannesburg? No, a holiday can be in the next kampong because their favorite cousin is there, same age. They can cause a riot during the holiday. They can have fun. Yeah. So what you do is the day before you tell them prepare photographs to tell this story. It must only be 5 photographs to tell the story. It could be a trip somewhere, about a family trip somewhere, happened in the family, somebody got married. Yeah, some kids will be brave enough to say my father remarried. Another, so I have now a stepmother. And that's an interesting story. And if the kid comes up and he's happy about it, his father is happy, his mother is happy. Why shouldn't other people be not happy if he's happy? And he tells the story. Yeah, yeah. The older brother got married, and then the story of how he helped to prepare, and his part team looking at his sister-in-law for the first time. Interesting. Yeah. So all these things. So the day before you tell them to get ready the story, you have looked at the textbook and you say the textbook is very uninteresting, but the textbook also introduces the structures that are useful for your students when they present online or in class about their family. So this is, okay, this is all structure. This is the oldest. This is the second. This is the third brother. This is the sibling. And this is my sister, the youngest in the family. All these structures are in the textbook. So you tell your students to get ready 5 photographs. Tell them that in their textbook from page 1 to page 6, you will find the structures that they need to help them to present. Okay? And now before you finish that class and before it goes to the next class, the teacher has to become a model. Everything about language teaching at lower levels is this, that you have to be the model for your students. The textbook is a reference. All the language structures that they need would be there in the textbook. But the teacher reinforces. Okay, before I finish this class, and before you do your presentation about your family in the next class, let me tell you about my family. And then I show them 5 pictures about my family. This is the picture of my mom and dad when they first arrived from India to Penang. See, they got only one suitcase. I show them the photograph of my father and mother standing at the port in Penang with one suitcase. And look at them. They're pretty young, aren't they? Yes, they went on to have 11 children. My mom and dad had 11 children. And I said, I won't say anything about everybody because there's no time. So I've only got 5 photographs. And I want to tell you about this sister. This is the 4th in the family. And she was not very well. She was very sickly. And you see, my parents wanted to take the whole family to India, also to give her medication through traditional means in India. This is the photograph of them back in India. But unfortunately, my dad's sister got diphtheria and she passed away in India. So you see, that's a story. See not? That's a story, and it is not a happy story. It's a sad story. You must remember that our textbooks are all full of happy stories. Nobody dies because text everywhere. Positivism can be boring, okay? Yeah. A great grandfather who is maybe almost not 120 years old, maybe possibly can die, you know. And so you will have to actually treat it as part of reality is absolutely missing in textbooks. Absolutely missing in textbooks. So what you can do is to bring reality back through your own materials. And so your students, you have to start getting them interested. If you're a young teacher and your great grandfather passed away and he was so special to you, you bring pictures of your great grandfather. I said, this is one of the most special persons in my life. He was amazing. Every time I went to his house, he would put me on my lap. And this is a picture of him. See, I'm sitting. Sina, you say, you know, he likes to eat Maggi Goreng. So I always cook for him the Maggi Goreng when I go to his house. And I make sure I always fry an egg with the bull's eye on top. You know, mata kerbau, bull's eye on top. And this is the picture of me giving my great grandfather the Maggi Goreng. Before he starts eating, I have to put his dentures into his mouth. Dentures are his artificial teeth, false teeth, right? And then I have to feed him. And this is a picture of me feeding him. That's a wonderful story. My great grandfather, however, wow, you can teach them how to use the word however, did not last very long. 2 months after this picture was taken, he passed away peacefully. He was 109 years old. You know, I feel so good about my grandfather that there are hundreds of pictures of me with him. Of course, I can't share because the teacher says I can only use 5 photographs to tell the story. Isn't that an interesting story? Would you want to be a part of that class? That's what I'm telling you about. Some of the best resources are with your students and with yourself. So before lesson, you are already being the model, and then you tell them, these are the structures that I use. This is my great grandfather. And then you show them, this is my great grandfather. He is 106. And then you tell all the structures you type on your PowerPoint screen, and you show it to them, and you tell them to keep it so that they can and also the structures in the textbook for their presentation about family tomorrow. You see that? And you also give them that your presentation about family cannot take more than 3 minutes. Interesting, isn't it? Yes. You confine the task so that they are very aware of the constraints. They cannot go beyond the 3 minutes. If they go beyond the teacher will have to stop them. Okay? So that's important. So the resources are the textbook, because it's a reference that some of the language that you need to use for your presentation is already in the textbook. So tell them to read. Of course, the teacher before the lesson gives them the model, how to go about doing it. Because the teacher talks about his own family first so that students will know how to follow tomorrow. Understand that or not? Yeah. Okay, this is the next one is a very important point. And the myth is I never have time to complete the lesson. A lot never have the time to complete the lesson. Why is that so? Remember the task that I told you about the day before the students present about their family using their photographs from their family albums. Why? They don't have time to complete the lesson because you plan for too much. got too many materials. Proper planning of lessons is important. You don't focus on the important thing, looking at any kind of other tasks except this. When you have a presentation about your family, just get your students to present. Because the day before you, so you get them to present. And when they present, they become happy. And then when they finish their lessons after it's presented, you ask them to vote. Okay, who do you think has the best story? Ah, that's your conclusion. Why? And then you revisit that person's story. Maybe you ask him to retell the story, and then you revisit that story. And that's the end of the lesson. Don't do too many things. Never do too many things. Because the more you do too many things, you get confused. And you start going off track. You lose your focus because your behavioral objective of the day, when you ask your students to bring the photographs and to present online or in their classrooms. Of course, in their classrooms, you can do so many other things. You can get them to share in group work their stories to each other. Of course, you got physical photographs or you got their phones with all their photographs, right? And then they take turns to talk about their families. That's so important, all right? So in the classroom, but online, you can also present using your photographs, right? Yeah, those are important things. Remember that some people say the textbook is boring. It can be if you rely too much on it. The textbook can be useful for exercises. You can use your own materials for the activities, but when it comes to exercises, use the textbook because the exercises are there. Apart from that, you have an extended materials platform in the internet. The internet can also be an extended textbook. There's so many things that you can do. How many of you are aware of grammar songs? Can somebody please tell me? How many of you are aware of songs to teach grammar? Anybody?
Grammar songs?
Mm.
Nothing comes to my mind.
Nothing comes into your mind? Okay. Hey, what about the others? How many in this classroom? I'm only just hearing 2 people or 3 people talk. How many in this classroom? Or they just turning it on and gone off to sleep? Anybody else? Okay, I want you to know that there are songs to teach most parts of speech and grammar and whatever. You want to teach adverbs, you go to Electric Company. Electric Company used to be children's and there are so many good songs for teaching language, grammar, aspects of speech, adjectives, adverbs. There's a song for everything. And all you have to do is Google. And kids love it because the moment you have actually taught them how to use adverbs, you can actually download for them the song. And before you know it, the song takes over the part of teaching. You don't realize how important it is. You know the LY song, for instance, it is to teach adverbs. And students start picking up the song so fast. You don't have to teach adverbs to them again. They already know what the function of an adverb is. Because a textbook will tell you most of the time that an adverb modifies a verb, which is an explanation. kids don't learn so well through explanations. They learn well from doing it, from singing the song, from practicing to repetition. Those are the things that make kids learn. This is a time when you are online to introduce them the world of learning through song. Because if you teach them the song and tomorrow you come back to class and I say, okay, Sazali or Mohidin or Ali, I want you now tomorrow to sing this song to me without looking at the words. It's such an easy song because many of the songs to teach grammar and things like that, they are all on the internet. They're all easy to learn songs. They're meant for preschoolers. So if your standard 1, standard 2, standard 3 child is exposed to this song, they'll be thrilled. They will be learning it by heart. And you have no problems with adverbs after that. They'll remember it for life. And they'll remember you because you're the teacher that made them remember that. That's what it is. Okay. Okay, now we are going into more serious things. As a teaching practice trainee, the biggest problem I once again want to tell you is that you want to believe with more is better, which is a wrong thing to do because when it comes to materials, too much materials clutter the lesson plan. When they clutter the lesson plan, you are in trouble. You are in deep, deep trouble. Okay. Most trainees believe that they have to overdo on lesson preparation. As a result, they have too much and are unable to handle the different tasks and materials. So if you have too many tasks, the other thing about having too many tasks is people will begin to wonder whether you are in the business of teaching or you are merely in the business of testing. There's a fine divide between teaching and testing. You're not supposed a very clearly defined line between teaching and testing. You are to be teaching more than assessing. Some people consider using a revision book as teaching. A revision book is assessment, and you're preparing them for an exam. That's what you're doing. It's wrong. It's morally very wrong. You are in the business of teaching, you're supposed to teach. You're supposed to make them good communicators of the English language. Okay? So if you have too much, then you know you will have to rethink your lesson plan. Let's look at the case study now. What do you normally do before a class? How do you define your lesson plan? Go into this case study. Can people start talking about what they do in before they actually prepare a lesson plan? What they have to do? Yeah.
Assess the student first.
Assess the student first. No, let's not talk about assessing the students first. Let's say you are going into standard 2, and it's your first lesson. The teacher who is your mentor, the actual teacher of the classroom, tells you, okay, you do unit berapa, berapa, berapa. How do you go about coming up with your lesson plan? Tell me. Who are the rest in the class? How come I don't see them? I need to start looking at everybody, you know, people are not talking to me, which is not a good thing. So I'm going to randomly ask people. Randomly ask people. Let's look at interesting name. How many students are there in this class?
This
Around
course
99.
somewhere around 99.
90?
9.
9. Almost 100.
Nine.
I think
Almost
100.
100. If
100.
include the seniors, yeah, it's 100.
Yeah, including seniors, we have 100.
So where just now I saw Ziad and suddenly he's disappeared. Where is he?
Don't know, sir. Cannot
Okay.
ask him.
Yes. He has to write a letter to me explaining. Okay, I want to ask one Hadi this. Yeah. Unmute one Hadi and you tell me what would you do before a lesson? He's there. One A Hadi. A2.
Is
Hello?
Abdul, sir.
One Abdul Hadi. Where are you? Tell me. Prepare. Alicia says what? Alicia says, Alicia just anyway. Shafika, prepare. Where's Shafika? Shahrul. These guys, do they have poor connectivity or what?
Most people have poor connectivity.
Yes. Even I sometimes do have it.
Open the mic and just answer in
You
chat.
don't have, you have, come again?
Use mic and they answer in chat.
Well, oh, in chat. Okay, yeah. I see comments like, you have to know the level of your students. Come on, guys, when you go to school, when you talk to your teacher whom you're taking over the class, you ask these things. So you don't have to do all. You ask the teacher, Cikgu, what's the level of your students? And they will tell you, why concentrate on preparing the lesson? And then if your teacher can't even do this, then you will say, okay, these are real beginners. And you how to make the lesson as simple as you possibly can. You don't have to know your students in your teacher. You ask your teacher about them. Okay. All right, Nizam. Tell me what else would you do after that? Nizam? Kind of quiet, yeah? Muhammad Arif Zikri, tell me, what would you do after that?
What?
You have spoken to your teacher and you already know the level. Now, before you prepare the lesson for for the next day, what would you do?
You mean in the lesson or in the lesson plan?
The lesson plan lah, sama lah, the lesson plan lah.
Or think at the end of the class, I will give a hint on what the next lesson is about.
Okay, yes. I want you to tell me how you go about preparing your next. Do you have curriculum specifications? You do, right?
Yes.
You know what's going in the next lesson, you know the topic. So what would you do after that?
I'm not quite sure.
It's okay. It's better to tell me you're not quite sure than to remain silent, which is fine. Well, you see, the thing is, your school would have got charted out the whole week by week plan what you're going to teach. You don't have to worry about that. You just ask the teacher in charge and he'll give it to you. Then you go into the lesson. And if let us say the lesson is on adverbs, teaching adverbs, what would you do? Let us say it's about teaching adverbs. What would you do? Megat Shamil, answer me. What would you do if you're teaching adverbs? What would your
I didn't hear your question.
question? Okay. Teaching adverbs tomorrow. How would you go about your lesson plans for teaching adverbs?
Maybe preparing some pictures. Hello?
We can hear you. Majid. Don't worry. Majid.
Going to
We
prepare
can.
them for? What pictures of what?
Of the adverb to make it more interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
You going modify. Usually they are L1 means if you say an adverb, I'm eating quickly, right? Yeah. Those are
Yes.
LY words. So that's what's happening because when you say pictures for, maybe you have pictures of people with which who are doing something. So you have verbs first. you use adverbs to modify those verbs. You use adverbs to show the relationship between the verb and the adverb. Quickly, but can a picture tell you that very clearly? No, right? Not easy to show quickly in a picture. Maybe in a video you can. Online, you have to remember that you can't spend too much time showing videos because it takes up a lot of time. Okay, I looked at a student, and this is what they did. They used the textbook for explanations because textbooks are very for grammar explanations, parts of speech explanations, and things like that. Even if you're teaching adverbs, they will show you how in a sentence, understand or not? But explanations like this can be very tricky. Students will not understand because it is like a definition in a dictionary. Why do people use Dui Bahasa dictionaries? Because they don't understand the definitions in an English dictionary. You know what I mean or not? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's very difficult. So they look for shortcuts. They use for a Dui Bahasa dictionary, and it goes direct to the point. Eat, makan, habis. Okay, in an English dictionary, eat means the act of putting something in your mouth, chewing, and gulping it down, eating. The definition of eating in a English dictionary, but in a Dui Bahasa dictionary, eat, makan, habis cerita. Betul tak? The same thing happens in a grammar explanation or a parts of speech explanation or word form explanation in a textbook. If you find an explanation in a textbook for what is an adverb, the students will be so confused because it becomes too technical. You understand that? Yeah. For adverbs, where he uses the textbook first for explanations and then has 3 tasks for the lesson development stage. Stage 1, he has an exercise on adverbs, mix and match. That means on the left-hand side are verbs, and then on the right-hand side are adverbs. So on the left-hand side, eat, quickly, drive, recklessly. Understand or not? Okay, walk quietly, things like that. Okay, so mix and match is the first task, and then the second one will be fill in the blanks, and then maybe the third task will be open-ended. If you notice, the stage his entire all made up of tasks. So the problem with that would be first part, number 1, you use the textbook for explanation. Okay. And then the second one is just assessment, teaching them how to do it correctly. It is as good as assessment. So there's no proper teaching. And in the closure, the teacher says, explains again of adverbs from the textbook. It's a extremely teacher-centered, assessment-focused teaching. Okay, so the result is the lesson is a failure because the teacher attempted too much. 1, too many tasks in lesson development. 2, too much focus on assessment, very little teaching. 3, very little interaction between teachers and learners. Because if your whole of lesson development, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, is all on doing tasks, that means there's no interaction. The learners are doing it on their own. Extremely autonomous. Teacher-centered. The teacher tells you what to do, the students do. Very prescriptive way of teaching. Okay. Now, how a simple lesson for adverbs? I start telling you how I would prepare. I'm giving you about 2 or 3 minutes to tell me how you would prepare an interesting lesson on adverbs. Just now somebody told me about using pictures, but he didn't explain to me how you're going to use the pictures. Can you think of an easy way how to teach adverbs? Or think of an easy way of how to do some other things. Okay, instead of adverbs, for yourself, I want you to think of how you would introduce prepositions to your young learners. Online, in classrooms. Of course, you can focus on online. How? How would you teach
Then
prepositions? This, yeah.
actually you are lagging, so I don't hear you quite well. Can you please repeat it?
How would you teach prepositions to your class, your primary school class?
Sir,
Preposition.
Yeah.
can you listen to me?
Yeah.
I think maybe if we doesn't have enough material to teach the preposition, we might have or we can draw like draw a house at the whiteboard or something like that, and then or maybe a table and put something on top of the table and describe whatever the thing that we are doing, like the bottle is on the table or the book is under the table, something like that.
That's good. That's interesting.
Maybe
But
we but
okay, you know the thing about before that's already going into stage 1 of development, right?
yes,
Okay. How would you do set induction?
set induction. I might show a video or maybe make it fun by there's a lot of songs with preposition, so I might have
Wait. Try not to use songs at stage because
so
set induction is only about less than 5 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. It is
yeah,
just set induction is supposed to be introducing the lesson through innovative, attention grabbing episode of the lesson. This is supposed to be attention grabbing. Okay, so if you have set induction, you are actually basically looking at this. You are attracting the attention of your learners. So if you're at home doing online teaching, what I suggest is um, uh, uh, maybe I like to use hats. You know that I like to use hats, right?
yeah,
Okay, so I like to use hats. So I like to use hats, and I tell them, okay, this is my, oh my God, what has happened? What has happened? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. It's okay. Maybe you can stop sharing for a little bit and then share it again. This happens, no worries.
How do you do it? Show it.
Stop sharing first. Do you know how?
I where stop sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
then
Then do the process again. So try and sharing again.
share again near my thing here.
Oh, it's the same. Oh, there we go. We can see it now. Perfect.
You come into the classroom and the students always see your hat and it's, okay, class, how are you this morning? And then you're looking at everybody on the screens and saying, oh, you look good. What did you do yesterday? I slept a lot because of the weekend. Very good. I hope you haven't put on weight. Make sure you run, okay, in the evening. And then, look at some other students says, where is Ziad? He's not here today. Ziad stays. Maybe you should talk to the parents, and say the teacher is very concerned about him. Okay, then you're coming to the class. Okay, today, class, remember yesterday I told you I was going to give you a lesson on prepositions. Now, you don't have to know what prepositions are. What is on my head right now? Class, what is on my head?
A hat.
Excellent. A hat. Very good. A hat. Maybe you have a picture of a hat here, pasted here, right? Then you bring it up and you paste it back on here and HAT. And straight away you see you are reinforcing the hat. Now I want you to tell me what is on my face.
Glasses.
My glasses. Okay. My glasses, and you show them a picture of the glasses and the what do you call that? The glasses. Another word for glasses is spectacles. This is the word, and take out the flashcard and you paste it here. See what I mean?
Yes.
Okay. You have a whiteboard behind you and you got magnets, you can do that very easily. Then you can ask your grandchildren to do all the fixing up for you. And then your children will be exposed to your grandchildren online as well. Isn't that wonderful? So you can get your nephews and nieces and your cousins, younger cousins, to also come and paste things on the board for you. And it's a communicative activity. It's so interesting, isn't it? Who says it's not interesting doing online? Now you tell them, look, I'm going to give you a Kit Kat wafer, which I will send you by post if you win this quiz. Okay? I want you to guess what is under my hat. If you see how you have gone from what is on my head, what is on my face, now what is under my hat? You guess, and I will send by J&T Courier, DHL, one Kit Kat bar. Okay, what's under my hat? Guess.
Apple. An apple.
An apple. Anyway, Firdaus, that is a very bad try, but never mind. But if you're an innovative teacher, I should have done that. I should have had fruits here by my side and then made you and reinforced all the words that are associated with fruits, like show them this is an apple, this is an orange, this is a pear, this is a banana, and then put them there. And then you say that one of these fruits is under my head. Now, who spoke just now? Tadi Firdaus ke?
Yes.
Okay, good, Firdaus. So that's a good idea. You can have all these fruits and say one of these fruits is under my head. Which do you think it is? The first person to answer correctly will be sent the Kit Kat bar by courier this evening. Tell me.
Crepes.
Case is not a fruit, right? Okay, I will tell you, give you a hint. It's connected to something that I'm wearing. This is what I'm wearing under my hat. My
Glass. Spectacle box. Glasses box. What is that?
yeah, spectacle box, spectacle case. So you see, that is a typical induction. Never try to do a magic show, an elaborate magic show, because you're going to fail. Because that's it, induction. It's supposed to be very simple. But I like the way just now, what's his name? Farid, right? He said an apple. That's interesting because for lower level learners, maybe you bring to reinforce all the words connected to fruits. You bring an apple and you ask your chuchu to paste. Chuchu, paste apple here and put the picture of the apple there, and the whole your grandparent children are also helping you with the teaching, and they're pasting the apple with the word apple there. And then what is this? A banana. Okay, put there, and the picture there. And what is this? An orange. Okay, put the apple there. Don't make sure only matsali fruits are there, okay? Get some local fruit. So put some more chiku. Okay, chiku. C-I-K-C-U. Put the fruit there. Don't bring a durian, okay? Because it's too big. Some other fruit. What? Duku. And you put the picture there and you do that. And you show the actual duku there. And that's it. Wow, that's reinforcing the language. Tell you students, one of these fruits is under my. Guess what? Definitely you didn't bring the durian, right? The durian will hurt your head. So one of these fruits is under my hat, and then they will guess. Then it says, what? Somebody says, sir, it's a banana. Right. Wow. Kit Kat bar is on the way right now. Oh, and then you tell your choo-choo, okay, please, please leave your name and address on the chat box. My choo-choo will copy your name and address, and immediately the Kit Kat bar will be dispatched by Post Laju. And you know, if your the postal service is really bad, you get a very bad Kit Kat bar in the mail, and you can sue the teacher. Okay, so this is what happens at set induction. Okay lah, you can ask Food Panda also. Now, see what happens is this. You are creating a set induction, and then the next thing is you start looking at prepositions in a serious way. And that's when you say, like Nafisa said tadi, and Asha and all these people said that you draw a table, putting things under and all that, and you also have something over. What can be over the table? A spider hanging over the table. Isn't that interesting? Right or not? Yeah. Right? How on earth am I going to introduce over? You can't plane flying over the table. That's illogical, right? Yeah, but there is a spider hanging over your table. Interesting. So the teacher introduces all the prepositions. The next stage would be to have a preposition song. Plenty of preposition songs on YouTube. Go find them. And then you sing along with them. And the next stage is assessment, the lyrics of the preposition song. You take out all the prepositions to ask to fill in mark. That becomes a proper preposition lesson. How to get your learners to develop competency in a language, fluency in a language. Now, have you heard of total physical response, TPR? I can't hear you guys. Are you guys all muted or what?
Yes, sir, I've heard.
You know what? Okay. TPR, total physical response, is an excellent, what do you call, method for teaching. Why? Why? Yeah, if you know about TPR, then why do you think it's good? Why is it excellent for teaching, especially at the lowest level?
Maybe because the students can be active physically.
Can I see you, Arif Zikri?
Oh, wait a minute.
Don't be shy. I think you have a poor line there. Okay, you tell me. Why? Again? Arif? Can you,
Yes.
you said, I can't hear you actually properly. That's why. Can you repeat what you said?
in my opinion, I think because the students can be active physically. I mean, what I understand from the total physical response that they will respond. They will respond to the teacher
They can
by.
actively respond. Yeah.
Okay, the both of you are correct. For the simple reason, this response allows you to actually get students involved physically. Half the time they are only being engaged mentally. This one allows you to do actions, and this is almost like aerobics, doing exercise. If you're a good teacher, you will realize that students come after pendidikan jasmani, they are exhausted, and mentally they're just not ready to absorb things because they're sweating, they're still having tiredness from all the physical exertions. So what you have is, you have a class full of students who are typically switched off, and you want them to switch on again. So what you do is, you get them to stand up and you tell them, okay, I know you all are tired. Let's start loosening up a bit. Okay, shake your hands. Shake hands. And they all go about shaking your hands. Okay? Now, lift your arms and shake your hands at the top, at the sides, at the bottom. You get them to loosen up. Just those instructions are helping you to get them to listen, do actions, and become familiar with what you're saying. That's what Zikri meant just now. Zikri, right? Just now? Siapa tu?
Yes.
Okay. That's what Arif Zikri said just now. So what you do is, you actually are beginning to get them to be aware of the fact that they are meant to be doing physical activity in the classroom. What's the importance of this? What's the importance of this? Now remember that all these are part of your materials used, you know. Teaching a method and having a script is your material for teaching. So the method is TPR, and you have the routines for TPR, what you want them to do, all on a script. And that's your teaching material. So instead of using the textbook, you're using TPR. Don't say you don't have preparation for TPR. You are producing your own materials. And how are you producing your own materials? You are writing the script as what you're going to do and what your students do. You understand that? So these are your teaching materials. The TPR is your teaching material. So can you please tell me what's the advantage of having a TPR methodology used? Where is everybody else?
I think the teacher's instruction are more clear and can be transferred into a physical communication. Yes.
You mean you see, the thing is, every teacher is, well, okay, what you mean is that the teachers' instructions, like put your hands up, put your hands down, put your hands sideways, that's clear. Okay, those are kind of instructions. And it is good because the students listen and the clarity of it makes them do the actions. Okay, that's good. Yeah, but what was the biggest strength of TPR? Especially when you come to the weaker classes. What are the biggest fears of students in the weaker classes? Anybody?
I think they are afraid of speaking.
Excellent. That's who said that? Amira.
No, Arisha.
Huh? Arisha.
Arisha.
Arya Shah.
Yes, sir. Arya Shah.
Okay, that's a very complicated name, but never mind. It is a very good response because the students are afraid of
Arisha.
speaking. Yes. Yeah, very good answer because you nailed the answer correctly. You nailed it. You said that the students are afraid of speaking. Of course, all production skills, fear. The students fear production skills because if you are asked to talk, they will hide under the table. And if you can notice, even in this class, there are students who do not want to speak at all. Yeah, that's why I prefer workshops on campus where I can see you face to face because I would like to test every one of you, and challenge every one of you. You're going to be teachers. You better learn to take challenges. Yeah. Because if you are passive, then you can imagine what your students will be in classroom. They'll be passive like you too. So what you do is, this is very good. That response is really good because students fear the production skills. What annotation request? What does that mean? Farhana Akila is requesting to annotate the shared content.
Don't sir. Maybe she may be
Decline.
next.
Okay. Okay. So what happens is when you to say something, they clamor. They don't want to speak because they're afraid of speaking. That's the idea behind total physical response. And because TPR puts emphasis on rather than production. Speaking is a production skill. Okay? It's not to say that listening is a passive skill. No, listening is a focused skill, but it doesn't require you to speak. So when you tell them, put the cup on the table, and if you take the cup and put it on the table, what does it tell you about the student's action?
It means that they understand us.
Excellent. It shows that they understand us, which means if they understand us, they have comprehended it, which means comprehension is 100% successful. You understand what I mean? You understand what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So TPR has the biggest advantage in the fact that you are more interested in the comprehension aspects rather than the production. The teacher does the production aspects of it, which means the teacher gives instructions via his voice, the students do actions, but while the students are doing actions, they are listening and comprehending, which is a part of language development. That's the idea of TPR. Yeah. As you can see, it is very difficult to do explanations when you are doing online. You know, that's the reason why it is such a disadvantage for teachers. If I'm having this problem trying to convey messages to you, can you imagine you dealing with your standard 2 and your standard 3 and your standard 4 and your standard 5 and your standard 6 students? It is an uphill task because they will find it even more difficult unless you're a caring teacher, you feel that nothing should be rushed, everything takes time. Use your TPR for one lesson. Tomorrow you revisit what you did today, and that makes you a better teacher. Because without reinforcement, your learners forget everything that they learned. So there's no point teaching them 1,000 words when they can't even remember the first 5 that you introduced. Because you're supposed to repeat the first 5 throughout the time that you're introducing new words. So that's the important thing that you have to remember.
Sir,
What if I had, yes?
I was wondering, does TPR have disadvantages?
Disadvantages? Every methodology has got its disadvantages. Okay. What do you think would be the biggest disadvantage to TPR?
Shy students, I guess.
Why? Shy students, no production skills, just do actions. That's the reason why. If your students are shy, you start giving them aerobic style exercises, but still using the essence. Okay, everybody raise your hands. They will all have to raise their hands. And then you look at Amina, she's a very shy student. Amina, why are you not raising your hands fully? She's raising her hands like that. She's very shy. She's raising her hands like that. You say, Amina, raise your hands high up in the air. And she will do it. Your shy students will also contribute. Of course, online, you cannot really check on everybody. As you know, there are so many sleeping partners in this online lecture. So you see
I
what
agree,
happens?
sir.
It is not. Yes, of course. This is the problem. Paid too much because they're so irresponsible. Some of them, they just switched on and connected online so they get attendance, and the next thing you know, they're sleeping on the bed, and nobody knows what's happening. See, unless you had surveillance cameras installed on all their handphones and their computers. Yeah. So what happens is that I told you just now that before you start your TPR lessons, understood you have shy students. How are you going to overcome that? Start doing basic aerobics exercise. Play a song. Okay, up with your hands, down again, up with your hands. Maybe there's a song out there you can use. Okay, use YMCA. YMCA to do so many actions. YMCA use get them to chill lah, to cool after pendidikan jasmani lesson. Okay, you are low in sugar. Pass around a sweet each. How much is a packet of sweets? Yeah, but make sure that your students are not too young because they might choke on the sweet, and you are in deep trouble. So be very careful about these things. Make sure they don't have allergies before you give away small gifts. But that's in a class. You just tell them, okay, tell your mom to reward you with a sweet. What the student. So what happens? You warm them up first before you're going in there. Okay? To confine, listen, have focus, don't do too much. Okay? Look at lesson 1. What are the behavioral objectives? Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
all have to write behavioral objectives, right? For lesson plan, you have to write behavioral objectives, right? Do you have to?
Yes.
Do you have to write behavioral objectives for your lesson plan?
Is it
You
like
Behavioral objective.
objektif tingkah laku kan?
We do
Right.
write objective, but we don't do the behavioral. I think I never do that. Lesson
What?
objective. Yes, I do.
So
Yeah.
what's your lesson objective?
Objective is basically what we want to achieve at the end of the lesson. What we
Okay.
intend
In
to
my
do.
case, I call very good. In my case, I call it behavioral objective. Behavioral objectives are what you can measure in the behavior of your learners. So my behavioral objectives are number one. Students are, I mean, it's the same lah. Lesson objective pun sama juga. Students are able to recall successfully words related to. Sorry, I forgot this one. I forgot to add to. Okay. Can you imagine? I'm doing, because I did this in a hurry, right? Because I lost a lot of my apa ni? My PowerPoint slides. My old computer gave a new one for this. So students are able to recall successfully words related to utensils used in cleaning the house. So you see lessons based on situations. So what's the situation? There must be a story behind a lesson for the story to be remembered, especially online. You know? Yeah. So you say you are going to successfully be able to recall words related to utensils used in cleaning the house. That's your behavioral objective number one, your lesson objective number one. Number two, students are able to successfully comprehend actions they're supposed to do and the manner in which they are done. That means, okay, this second objective, you have to listen to what I have to say, okay? Because I can't see you all, this is not going to be like the lesson that you're supposed to do. Maybe because there are 90 in the class or 99, that means the bandwidth is actually very small. So I think many of you, even their videos can't show. I can't see you do actions. So that's a disadvantage for me. But your class will be small, right? Your primary school class will be small, maybe 20 students. Yeah, so then maybe you can see everybody in the screen. And when you ask them to do actions, you can actually see them. Now, you can start creating for number one. The objective is you're able to recall successfully words related to utensils used in cleaning the house. Maybe your students are in standard 5. Recall is important. They know all these things. Broom, feather duster, brush, cleaning cloth, all this. Vacuum cleaner if they are rich. But try not to use vacuum cleaner because your poor students will be so upset that your rich students have got a vacuum cleaner in the house. You understand? So what happens is you bring all this. Of course, if you are teaching online, the teacher has all this barang next to him. All right? And then number two first. So it is so this is set induction. So whole class stop. If you are in the classroom, you can tell a story about housework and you can say, class, good morning, how are you? How many of you helped your parents to clean the house yesterday? That's set induction. And then somebody tells, Amina will say, sir, I always have to do the cleaning. Oh, why? Because I am like Cinderella in my house. I have two sisters, both of them very ugly, and uh, they, they always escape work. And because my mother is also like the Cinderella's mother in the story, and she likes these two older sisters of mine, while I have to do all the cleaning in the house. And that is your story for the day, your set induction. Can you imagine? Everybody goes into deep shock and say, "What? God bless you. How do we rescue you?" Have you tried calling online help? You know, call a Telidera line or something like that. And then maybe you start the class with humor. That's so important, isn't it? Set induction should be there, 3 or 4 minutes, and then you get somebody like that. Or you, the teacher, as being if you're a female, you'll be the drama queen. You start saying, I used to do the cleaning in the house, and my two sisters, older sisters, yeah, they get to go to the cinema with their boyfriend. Clean the house, I scrub the floors, and my mother would say, "It's not clean enough," and you start going into drama, and the students will enjoy you. What you become a storyteller in set induction, forever sake. And that's what it is. You have to be a storyteller as a teacher. That's the wonderful thing about teachers. If you're not a storyteller, go into becoming a salesman or something. Then pick up the skills. And because when you are a salesman, you try so hard to sell something, then you pick up the skills of being a storyteller. And then go back to teaching. After 5 years of working as a salesman, you become an excellent teacher because you have the power of persuasion. Power of persuasion is so important for a teacher. Yeah. Then, okay, you start. That's a set induction stage. Or you can ask the students to tell stories. And they will have wonderful stories, how they hate homework, how their mother gets them to wash the car and she does nothing except be on the phone all the time. You want to hear all these dirty stories. They wash their dirty linen in public and you enjoy it. Then you go back to the classroom and tell the teachers, "Hey, you know what? My student, this is talk like that." And you have fun with the other teachers. They all have a good laugh. And teaching is not so stressful after all. Isn't that wonderful? And these are the objectives, the lesson objectives. I call them behavioral objectives because the idea to look at behavior change. That's the idea of education. What is it? Made them view things differently? Have they got skills which have made them have better competencies in the language? So very lesson plan. Talk about housework, whether they like it or not. My lesson development has got only 3 stages. Stage 1, use of Realia. So I'm going to use a broom, feather dust, dusting cloth, flashcards, and all my choo-choo will come here and arrange everything here. And I said, okay. I said, what's this? Bring that mop here now. Bring it here. Okay, then you show them the mop. See, this is the mop. Yeah. And then you have pictures of all these things here. Because once you start having your Realia, you have to have a video cameraman to show different parts of the things. You don't afford that. Teachers don't have that kind of thing. Unless I can use my choo-choo to show the video this side. All the things are arranged there. Or you can arrange all the things by the side here. Or just have pictures of it with the flashcards, with the names. Then you tell your students at home, okay, anything, point to the broom. Okay, you all point to the broom? Point to the broom lah. Katakanlah broom dekat sini. Okay, point. Okay. Macam tu lah. Because I can't see you guys and you guys are not switching on your cameras because you don't want me to see that you are sleeping. So what happens is, I can see the students and they will say, okay, I will say, point to the broom. Then they will point here. Point to the feather duster. Point to the mop. These are all pictures with words. Of course, the real thing are also by the side. Then you point. That's the beginnings of TPR. You don't have to do any production. Just pointing only. And Then wow, time is flying by. We never had a break. What's the background of what cleaning he did at home? So I would say, yesterday I cleaned the house. And then, of course, I'll be using sentence structure. Feather duster. Then I went to the kitchen and brushed the sink. After that, I mopped the kitchen floor. Wow, that's what I did. I have the whole dialogue here. You understand that? Then you tell the students to stand up. Hopefully you can all see them in the camera, or sit on the desk, but do the actions, okay? Okay, I say, okay, now I am in the living room and you are in the living room. Take the broom. Of course, in the home, they have the brooms ready, otherwise you send the mother a bomb. You kena prepare your student, your children before the class. You send them a WhatsApp group message. Ibu bapa sekalian, tolong sediakan barang-barang ini sebelum kelas esokkan hari. 1, penyapu. 2, feather duster. Apa benda feather duster dalam bahasa Melayu?
Bulu ayam.
Apa benda?
Bulu ayam.
Bulu ayam. Ayo, nanti dia bawa ayam lah ke dalam rumah. Actually, bulu ayam not very nice. Feather duster doesn't show like bulu ayam doesn't show like a cleaning thing. Tak apalah, bulu ayam. And then kain untuk lap. And then mop. All this. And then sedia sebelum kelas online. Now, if you're a good teacher, the preparation has to be like this. That's why good teachers die young. Tahu tak? They die of stress. Ingat senang kan nak jadi cikgu. So what happens is you told your parents already. You see how online learning is difficult? It is difficult because the preparation has to be a lot. If you want to do proper teaching of English, the preparation has to be a lot. The stage 2, the teacher gathers everything here, and then you dah bagi tahu tomorrow's class, you kena sediakan ni. Then the teacher says, okay, show me your broom. Kat broom. And you tengok 20 kamera tu, mesti pastikan they all got it right. Show me your broom, right? Okay. Show me your brush. Dia angkat brush. Show me your dusting cloth. Show me your feather duster. Show me your mop. You see not? See not?
Yes.
Okay. And then now you start your routines. Of course, you have a script lah. All right. First, we are going into the living room. Ruang tamu. Let us, okay, sweep the floor. Everybody do the action? Do the action lah, korang. I tak nampak pun siapa-siapa buat sweeping action. Aduh. How to become teachers macam ni. Okay, you sweep. Okay. Then you go to the curtain. Dust the curtains, everybody. Yeah, just doing the dust the curtains. Okay, good. After that, you go to the kitchen and you use the brush and you scrub the sink. Okay. Then you take the mop and you mop the floor and you make them do all these actions. And then now you just shout the instructions and you do everything. Okay? Just shout the instructions. Okay, sweep the floor. And everybody starts sweeping. Cikgu tak payah buat lagi dah. Dust the curtains. Brush the sink. Mop the floor. Students do all these things. You understand now? Then you repeat these actions again and again, and using all your dialogue which you've used to show what you have done. That is the way to do stage 2 of your TPR lesson. And you can do it online. I told you, except you need the cooperation of parents. You need to get them to prepare the students for the lesson. That's when you get parents involved in the education and let them learn too. And sooner or later, their parents who are farmers will know what TPR is. Yeah. And maybe they, yeah. Okay. Okay. The next one is stage 3. Stage 3 is adding manner. You are actually, what you are doing, your objective is, your lesson objective is to teach adverbs, right? Right or not? Okay, great. Okay, so your lesson is to teach adverbs. So when you are teaching adverbs, just now you asked them to do actions on verbs. Remember? Remember or not? Okay, now you add manner to the actions. So adding manner to the actions is the verb. And what of the verb in this case? It is the adverb. It is the adverb. Like, clean how? Clean quickly. Brush how? Brush slowly. So now we are bringing your students back and telling them, okay, now we are in the living room. Okay, sweep the floor. And while they're sweeping the floor, you must show the camera that you're doing this action. And then you tell them, sweep the floor quickly. Okay? Sweep the floor quickly. Then you tell them, stop. Okay. Sweep the floor quickly again. You must show rigorous action to show sweep quickly using the verb and the verb and
Manner.
the manner is what? What is it? Adverb. Understand or not? So the verb, and you go to the living room and tell them, sweep the floor quickly, stop. Sweep the floor quickly, stop. Then you say, now you go to the curtains, dust the curtains with the feather duster, dust quickly, stop, dust slowly, because there's somebody with resdung in the house and you cannot raise too much dust, so dust slowly, please. And you're doing slowly and quickly and slowly and quickly and slowly and quickly. So what have you successfully taught? What have you successfully taught?
Verb.
Adverbs. So actually, the objective, the first one was to recall successfully the words used really the cleaning of the house, which is all about Realia. Betul? Introducing Realia and recalling the words. Of course, they have in they know what broom is, brush is, but it's always good to revisit these words because, like people say, the experts say, any word be introduced more than 7 times throughout a learning period, which means that if you introduce a new word and it's not reintroduced, your retention is not very good when you're very young, and so especially in a second language or foreign language. Okay, so you need to introduce the words, and that's what we did. And then you added action words, you added manner, which is would be a simple task, asking them to fill in the words that you taught. Understand? You can even give them the actual Apani words that you need to fill out with. Be kind to them because you're not interested in testing them macam SPM. So I cleaned the house, maybe I swept. You put all the words that are needed here with a broom. Quickly. Okay. Put all the words that you need. All the words and put them into the blank. Don't have to make this look like as if that they will go to jail if they do it. No, of course. Ideas for the next lesson would be to introduce the LY song. You see, the LY full song used to teach adverbs, which is on YouTube. But of course, you have to choose an LY song which concerns most of the words used in this lesson. Quick, slowly, quietly, or whatever. Okay, but some songs may not be very good and doesn't teach you all the words that you use today. Okay. Now, what would be some guidelines for using songs? Never rush using songs. Remember, when you use songs, they're meant to entertain. Don't tell them, okay, class, today I want to introduce a song to you, and then you explain everything about the song until the students are so angry with you because there are 20 minutes and you haven't played the song. Point. So you must say to the class, today I want to give you a nice song and give you a very nice song, which is about a very happy boy. I want you to listen to this song and enjoy it. Tell your students, enjoy it. And then you play the song. And after the song, you tell them, did you like the song? And then they say, yes, teacher, can you play? No. You think what? I'm in control of this lesson. You understand? After this, it's work for you. Look at the worksheet. Don't do that because that's bad strategy. You want to listen to the song again? Okay, before we listen to the song, tell me, what do you think the song is about? Okay, I'll play after you've told me what you think about this song. Why is this boy happy? Okay, we'll sing a song. I'll play you the song, but let us discuss this first. What did you listen about this boy? Why do you think he was happy? Then you talk about it. Okay, excellent. Now you guys listened very properly, and the reward is this time we're going to play the song and we are going to sing it together. When you sing them, forget about worksheets. The worksheet at the end of the lesson would be just removing a few of the lyrics of the song and asking them to fill in the words which are missing. That's good enough. The target words, maybe the adverbs are taken out, they just fill in the adverbs again. So it's like reinforcement. You see what I mean? See what I mean? See? Let learners express themselves, enjoy the song. Only have a worksheet at the end of the lesson. Okay? Now, we are only 3 minutes away from time. Thank you very much. If you've got questions, there are about 3 minutes for you to ask me questions. Any questions? I know this is a very long 2 hours and Some of you are sleeping, although you connected, and some of you have been very active, which is very good. I thank all those active people who were contributing to this lesson, to this talk. That's really good. I like that. And that's the reason why the 2 hours went by very fast. Because this is such a challenge. Trying to teach online is such a challenge. And I've told you how you have to organize online classes. You have to have a WhatsApp group with the parents, and you have to get all this information from the teachers, and you have to tell them for tomorrow, I'm going to teach them this, adverbs. Can you get your children to get ready all these items? And you tell the students you have to get ready all these items before your class tomorrow. And then lyrics of songs with the words taken out, you have to send by email to parents, and or you can send it to students if they already know how to use their email, and will get ready.
So I had a question.
Yes.
For online learning, as you mentioned, it has to work with parents, but how about parents that are busy or for those who are like single parents?
Well, you can't save the world, None of us are Superman and Ultraman, and none of us are Marvel heroes, but we try our best. If they can't, then what you can tell them is you tell the students to bring those things and get ready. That's one way. Maybe you have a class for English every day. You tell them online, for tomorrow, make sure you have this following. Look at the screen, the PowerPoint that I have now, which I'm sharing with you. I want all these things for you to get ready. Then they will say, teacher, I only have one of the following. What is that? The broom. What else you have? No, I don't have anything else. I don't have a father duster. We are so poor. My mother is a single mother, and she is working selling cakes at the roadside there. Yes. And I'm supposed to help her, but today, because of English, I'm here to become a doctor, and I want to learn not English classes teacher. And so, do you mind if I borrowed, if I just took a pic, drew something and put it there in front of your screen? And the teacher will say, oh my God, you're so clever, Johan. Please tell your mother to be strong, and hopefully you become a doctor soon. And very good, that's a great idea. You don't have a brush, and you don't have this, and you don't have the, you only have a broom, fine. You draw the others, and then you draw the others, and every time you are using a broom, you show me this picture. See, there are ways to go about it. Of course, your students might not have everything. Understand? They can play pretend also. They don't have a dusting cloth. Tell them to take their t-shirt, put it next to them, and use it as a dusting cloth. So you have to be innovative as well as a teacher. Okay, that's a good question. Very good. Yeah. Question? No? Okay, we are way past 11 and it's already end of our session. I'm sure you guys are tired. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice day.
Thank you. Have a good day too.
Have a good day too.
Thank you, Prof.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think Doctor, you are closing, yeah?
You are closing, yeah?
Maybe Mr. Hisham, would you like to say something to Prof?
Okay,
Mr. Hisham.
thank you very much, Prof.
What?
Can you
Most
hear me?
welcome, Hisham.
Yes.
Now, what is this?
What is this?
We'll have to access to all your chat. Okay, fine. Yeah, I approve.
Yeah, I approve.
Okay, done.
Okay, done.
Okay. So, yeah, it's very unfortunate that we cannot meet face to face this time, Prof.
Mm.
Yeah, I do
It's
remember.
okay. But I think I tried my best to
Yes.
show online.
Yes. Yes. So I think the students benefited a lot from your session just now, and hopefully we can have another session live with you. Yeah, once COVID is over. So again, thank you very much, Prof.
Okay, take care. Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, bye, Prof.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Okay. Have a nice day.
Okay. Same. Bye-bye.